Oh man, I feel like it's been forever. David, do you know how long it's been since we talked about the last HTC phone on this channel?
Oh, it's half a year?
Some time? Okay. So HTC brought out two phones this year, two flagship phones this year, although only one of them felt like a flagship. The U Ultra and the U11. The U11 was basically a flagship phone. The U Ultra was a flop. I personally love the U11 a lot. I thought it was a really good phone. It's not my daily driver by any means, but still a really good phone. The one thing I wish it did differently was have a display with an 18:9 aspect ratio. So whatever it was, HTC listened to me and I guess a few other people and pulled a OnePlus this year and released a second flagship phone with an 18:9 aspect ratio, which you would think is pretty freaking cool. Although they slipped up in one way, they didn't bring it out to the US. So this is the HTC U11 Plus, and we're going to talk about it. Let's do it. Now, being that the U11 Plus is a modest upgrade over the original U11, the review style of this video is going to be really similar to our OnePlus 5T review, where we'll point out similarities between the two devices, and then we'll point out the major differences, basically what's new, and kind of go from there. Talk about the price, availability, my opinion, and that'll be it. So let's do similarities first. So what do the two phones have in common? The processor, Snapdragon 835, which has proven to be one hell of a processor for 2017. Almost every single flagship phone had it. The camera, the rear camera is essentially the same. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the identical sensor. Made by Sony, f1.7 aperture, 12 megapixel. It's like you just take the camera and put it in this phone. That's it. And my favorite similarity, the shiny glass back finish. I actually loved how shiny the HTC U11 was, and they brought it back to the U11 Plus, which is good. So, doing good so far. So, how are the two phones different? Well, the U11 Plus comes in two different performance options. The first one is 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, typically available in Taiwan and a lot of other Eastern countries. The second option is 6 gigs of RAM with 128 gigabytes of storage. That's the one I currently have, and from my understanding, it's only available in the UK. Second difference, exclusive color option on the U11 Plus. Comes in 3 colors, silver, black, and translucent black. The translucent black is that exclusive color option. I have that one. You will see it. We will take some awesome shots. It is super cool. Third is screen size. You're getting 6 inches on this display, which is really cool. And like I said, 18:9 aspect ratio, so fits in with all the other flagships from 2017. You're getting a huge bump in the battery department, 3,930 milliamp hours. That is absolutely ridiculous. And you're taking IP67 and you're getting upgraded to IP68 water and dust resistance. So yeah, pretty modest upgrades. And by modest, I mean not modest at all. So we're gonna start off with my favorite part of the phone, the translucent black color. Like I said, mine is translucent black with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, but I do believe this color option is still available for the variant that has 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. So if you manage to find it, you should be able to find it in both performance options. What I really like about it is it's so different from a lot of the designs we've seen for 2017. 2017 has been a year of a lot of glass and aluminum. HTC kind of stepped it up, not only incorporating super shiny glass, but also giving you an option to kind of peek inside and see what the internals of a cell phone actually look like. My favorite part of the translucent black is the little coil that you can see in the background. Don't get confused though, it does not have wireless charging, unfortunately, so no, it's not a wireless charging coil. It is an NFC coil for things like, you know, data transfer and Android Pay. Nonetheless, though, this is probably one of my favorite design phones of 2017. I absolutely love it, and I hope a lot of other carriers or OEMs actually start doing it. So I mentioned the phone gets a bump in the display department, mainly in display size, which is still really cool. So you're getting a 6-inch display. In terms of display technology, it's still really similar to the U11. Super LCD display with a 2880 by 1440 resolution. So still really good. 18:9 aspect ratio, which is super awesome, makes the device really good for media consumption, has really small bezels, so videos, pictures, anything you really do on the phone just looks awesome. I will say this though, not as saturated or super punchy as a lot of AMOLED panels or just OLED panels in general, which you'd come to expect. It does kind of have this always on screen where the display will light up black whenever you get a notification. Not necessarily turn itself on completely, but it will slightly illuminate itself. And on an LCD, you can most definitely tell that even though the color is black, you can still tell that the backlight is most definitely on. It just does not look as good as other always-on displays when they incorporate OLED technology. But still, really good display. I like the display on the U11 and I like the display on the U11 Plus, but it's not gonna blow you away. And you know what else helps with media consumption? Having really good speakers. Now, HTC used to be notorious for having some of the best speakers on their devices, and I'm happy to say boom sound is back on this device. From my understanding, based on what HTC said, it's actually better than some of their recently released flagships. I will say this though, the combination of having a speaker on the bottom and one in the receiver on the device works really well. At max volume, it is ridiculously loud. It doesn't get tinny or distorted either, which is really good. And HTC has a couple sound profiles built into their software, so you can switch between music mode and theater mode. Theater mode is ridiculously awesome, by the way. Whenever you're watching YouTube videos through the speakers, it almost has the quality of really good headphones coming straight out of the speakers, so that's awesome. And if you're like me and you're into watching YouTube videos basically all day long, you can, because like I said, 3,930 milliamp hour batteries, just under 4,000. Absolutely ridiculous in terms of the size of the battery, which I guess makes sense considering the phone is bigger than the original U11. HTC also does really well with their software. Android 8.0 Oreo out of the box with HTC Sense built on top. And there is software enhancements built in, so battery life is really good. You could probably push this phone to 2 days before you have to put it on a charger. I was easily getting 6 hours of screen on time, and that would put me at like 40%. So really, really good battery life. I will say this though about HTC software. I love that they're good with their software updates, but my goodness, man, HTC Sense in general just needs an overhaul. Not only are flagship phones getting more beautiful, but software itself is starting to look much more clean, streamlined, pristine. And HTC Sense still has some applications built in that go as far back to like the M9 in terms of overall design. So Sense is good, needs a visual update, for sure. And like I said earlier, the U11 Plus uses the same exact rear camera as the U11. If you guys watched the review on the U11, you know that I thought it was a good camera. Definitely not the best camera on the market, especially since the Note 8 has come out, the iPhone 10 has come out, and the Pixel 2 XL has come out. Those are probably the top 3 cameras on the market, with the Pixel 2 XL taking the crown still by a long shot. And unfortunately, there's no portrait mode on this camera. So I kind of wish they would have found some sort of a way to incorporate portrait mode into the software, similar to how Google's done it with their Pixel. But no portrait mode. Would have been cool to kind of distinguish it from the actual U11. Nonetheless, still a really good camera capable of delivering some really good shots, which you guys can see right here on the screen. And that basically does it between what's different between the U11 and the U11 Plus and just how well the U11 Plus does in everyday life. So we're going to talk about pricing, availability, my overall opinion of it. Should you buy it? Should you not buy it? Can you even get a hold of it? I don't really know. But we're going to talk about it. So, the HTC U11 Plus is available to purchase for 699 British pounds. Now, if you do the math, that equates to about 944 US dollars. Not absurd, because, I mean, the iPhone 10 starts at $999 for half the storage, and the Pixel is right at that price point for 128 gigabytes of storage, and the U11 Plus at least gives you 6 gigs of RAM versus 4. Still really expensive though. If you happen to have the money, and that's not really an issue for you, the other issue is going to be, can you actually get a hold of the phone? So like I said earlier, it was not released in the United States, which is really unfortunate because I feel like the phone would have had some decent sales here in the US. I know HTC is kind of an underrated brand these days in a market saturated by Apple, Samsung, and now Google is working on becoming a big player in the industry as well, but still a really well-designed phone all around. So I think they would have done decent if they would have brought it to the US. So if you want to get a hold of one, your best bet, honestly, is probably eBay, unless you have some sort of a connect in the UK or Eastern markets that can actually buy the phone for you and ship it to you. But it is most definitely available on websites like eBay. So if you have the money lying around and you feel like the U11 Plus is your fit, then go for it. Check eBay. You can most definitely find some prices that are probably cheaper than $944. My overall opinion of it, I absolutely love this phone. I really hope HTC does some visual overhaul for their software, because honestly, that's the one kind of thing that turns me off a little bit about the phone. The phone itself is designed beautifully, but the software could most definitely use some work. Besides that, the battery life is there. The display is really nice. It's water and dust resistant. Camera is solid. It's an all-around flagship package. It's probably what HTC should have released earlier in the year instead of the U11, or it could have even replaced the U Ultra and would have been just fine. So with that being said, if you have the money, I would most definitely go for it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, be sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I hope you guys all have a wonderful new year, surrounded by loved ones and family. And be on the lookout for Best Phones of 2017 video coming out soon. We're kind of waiting for 2017 to be officially over, and then we're going to kind of talk about what our favorite phones of 2017 were. And also, if you guys want to see something in that Best Phones of 2017 video, leave it in the comment section. We'll take a look at it and see what you guys talk about. And we might find some sort of way to incorporate that in the video. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Are you filming?
Yeah.
Okay. Just stop it and start it again.